everyone, today I'll be reviewing this brand new documentary series just dropped on Netflix. It is based on Arnold Schwarzenegger's life and it's called Arnold. And when I saw this documentary, it is coming this week. The timing for this documentary, I will say personally, is a little bit bad because recently there was another show starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fuber just dropped a couple of weeks ago. Now we have another show on him. I think if they dropped this show last year or something, could have been really hit or could have been more enjoyable, because recently you just watched him in Fuber. Now this show, I think it's little too much, little too quick time. What do I think about this documentary? So this documentary is actually divided into 3 parts. So you get part 1 with him. He's explaining to you where he came from, his family. And in part 2, you see like his actor, like how did he begin to do acting and everything. And the part 3, you see how did he became the governor of California. First, you see his earlier life, which I had no idea. Like he's from Australia. So I personally always thought he's from Norway or something. I guess he's from Australia. I keep trying to say Australia. I guess he's from Australia. By the way, very beautiful country. Every time this show took me there, I was amazed how beautiful country that is, which I had no idea about. Quite eye-opening watching this show. So this show starts with him. He's from there, his mom, his dad, and of course, like Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. He narrates the show for his audience. And for me personally, I really like the middle part of this documentary. That episode is called Actor, where James Cameron, he comes on and he talks about how he worked with him. Although I heard this story before from James Cameron, but it was really even nicer to hear from him again. Linda Hamilton comes on, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, she's so charming. Really like this second episode. Like if you like his movies, I think most people know Arnold Schwarzenegger through these movies like Terminator, True Lies, Twins. These are his iconic movie. Also Predator, of course. So when this second episode kicks in, this show is actually really pick of his time. It's so good. You hear all these people, their opinion on him. I thought that episode was really top notch. But unfortunately, every time Arnold Schwarzenegger, he started talking about his wife, which I had no idea. She's actually daughter from the Kennedy family. So she is very high profile family daughter. So very interesting. And also Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's very smart guy. Every time he start talking about anything, I was like, man, this guy is so smart. So like in control of his life. In a way, when he was talking about himself, I felt like I was listening to Dwayne Johnson, his life. Sounded like Dwayne Johnson is taking a lot of his life inspiration from Arnold Schwarzenegger. For some reason, the similarity is too much. Of course, every time he talks about his wife, Maria Shaver, her name, I just I feel really bad taste in my mouth, because a couple of years ago, of course, this huge scandal came out about Arnold Schwarzenegger, which dragged him to the mud. That's the truth, guys. Although he's a huge star, he was #1 in everything, as he was saying. But whenever, after his affair, this rumor came out about him. Ever since that, people don't want to see him, because this his rumor affair, it really put bad taste in people's mouth. But when I was watching, when we go to episode 3, I kept thinking about, oh my God. I was just thinking about that the whole time. Every time he talks about his wife and kids, I was like, how can I believe him? Yeah, that's a little weird, I guess. I think not just me, any audience watching the show, they will feel this, because this guy, although he did had because I guess end of the day, he is a superstar, there's no denying. Oh, I forgot to mention, I really like the Sylvester Stallone. He also comes on and he talks about how he has a rivalry with the back then in 1980, both of them were fighting for #1 position for the action heroes. The same thing happening with Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel a couple of years ago. Now this time around, world has changed, movie industry has changed. So this is different era now. I think now Dwayne Johnson has to go against Jason Momoa or something. Anyway, you get the idea. Quite similarity, unfortunately. Overall, this show, all the things it shows you, I think most people know about him. Is this show bringing anything new? No, not really. But if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger and you never knew anything about him, I think it's worth checking. This show actually is, end of the day, the production wise, it is done very nicely. Like, for as the audience, if you just start watching it, you don't know anything about him. It's quite entertaining because he comes on and he talks about it. And Arnold Schwarzenegger once again, he's just too charming on the screen. My favorite movie from him is Terminator True Lies. These are my favorite movie, like all-time action movie. These are also directed by James Cameron. So both of these guys, I guess they worked together very closely. So it was interesting. So for me personally, because I am from this movie space, I really liked this episode too. If I had to give a star, I give 5 out of 5 stars because end of the day, getting all this huge star like James Cameron, Jamie Lee Curtis, Sylvester Stallone, getting them and talk about him, I think it was very interesting. Same time, end of the day, I guess, as I was saying, his scandal with his wife and all this thing, end of the day, you feel like, whoa, should I be watching it? If you don't want to think about that, you can watch it. Overall, I think it was okay. Production-wise, is top-notch. Everything is top-notch. It's just his personal drama, it ruined the, I guess, overall show. So quality watch for me. And that's my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about this series? If you enjoyed this review, don't watch another reviews on other Netflix documentary. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.